So a quick update from today with the whole Alec Murdaugh case. Daily Mail just put out an article. It says Alex Murdaugh weeps in court and pleads guilty for the first time ever as he admits to financial crimes. But the double murderer still faces another 100 charges. Convicted killer Alec Murdaugh wept in court today as he admitted a crime for the first time since he was arrested in July 2022 over the murder of his wife and son. The former criminal attorney said, "I want to take responsibility," as he pleaded guilty to 22 counts of financial fraud and money laundering at a federal court in Charleston, South Carolina. "I want my son to see me take responsibility," he added. "It's my hope that by taking responsibility, that the people I've hurt can begin to heal." Murdaugh, 55, was sentenced to life without parole in March for shooting dead his 52-year-old wife Maggie and their 22-year-old son Paul in June 2021. Pictures, and it says he is appealing against that conviction but faces around 100 further charges in state court, including drug and money laundering, wire fraud, and insurance fraud for a botched unaliving attempt. Today's plea deal requires him to repay $9 million he admitted stealing from clients of his law firm and ensures that any jail time will be served simultaneously with any he receives from state courts. Prosecutors maintain that Murdaugh killed his wife of 27 years and younger son at their 1,800-acre hunting estate to distract and delay investigations into his financial misdealings, and waited for at least an hour before calling 911. The jury found Murdaugh had fired 5 shots at his wife with an automatic rifle before shooting his son in the head and chest with a different weapon to make it look as though his barbaric murders were an ambush. Murdaugh's court appearance today came hours after the latest series of Netflix's Murdaugh Murders, A Southern Scandal, was released, featuring a new interview with Smith, a former client of Murdaugh's law firm. Smith told the program he asked Murdaugh why he was being hired to kill him, and then Murdaugh answered Smith by saying, "Because they're going to be able to prove that I'm responsible for Maggie and Paul."
I said, "Well, ask why you want me to shoot you?" Because they're going to be able to prove that I was responsible for Maggie and Paul.
Unfortunately for Murdaugh, a passerby saw the shooting and told police it was so unconvincing they thought it had been a setup. Murdaugh still faces charges of stealing about $4 million in insurance settlements meant for the family of Gloria Satterfield, 57, a longtime housekeeper who died in a fall at the Murdaugh home in 2018. Longtime friend and now ex-attorney Corey Fleming helped Murdaugh steal the money, investigators said. Fleming was sentenced in August to nearly 4 years in prison after pleading guilty. The death was one of a series connected with the family, which raised suspicions. And it talks about how Buster had been accused of involvement with the whole Stephen Smith death. So here they're talking about Buster. It says, last month, Buster broke his silence for the first time since his father's conviction, telling Fox Nation's The Fall of the House of Murdaugh he still believes in his father's innocence. He took aim at the police and judge, claiming they had had a crappy motive, and he did not believe that it was fair that all jurors found him guilty. He also claimed the jury ultimately found his father guilty of the shootings because of everything they had the ability to read prior to the trial. "I think that I hold a very unique perspective that nobody else in that courtroom ever held. And I know the love that I have witnessed," he said. Buster spoke about his father's murder trial. "I was there for 6 weeks studying it. I think it was a tilted table from the beginning. And I think, unfortunately, a lot of the jurors felt that way prior to when they had to deliberate. It was predetermined in their minds prior to when they ever heard any shred of evidence that was given in that room." Alex is scheduled to face a trial on at least some of the state charges at the end of November, and prosecutors have insisted they want him to face justice for each one. Murdaugh's lawyers told the federal court in Charleston he admitted to 14 counts of money laundering, 5 counts of wire fraud, 1 count of bank fraud, 1 count of conspiracy to commit wire and bank fraud, and 1 count of conspiracy to commit wire fraud. Each charge carries a maximum of at least 20 years in prison. Some have a maximum of 30-year sentence. Murdaugh will be sentenced at a later date.
I came from the mud. There's dirt on my hands. Strong